All right, hope everybody's doing well. We're going to be checking out this Huepar SG800 power tool paint sprayer. This is a 120 volt paint sprayer, requires no air. There's everything that's included. And that's why it's interesting, because you really don't need an air supply. Most paint sprayers, decent ones, you're going to need some type of air supply, unless you're spraying interior with one of the paint bucket sprayers. But even then, most of them do require an air supply. So let's get this thing open and check it out. It is packaged very nice, sealed with plastic. All right, and here's everything laid out. It's got a very nice instruction booklet in English, French, and Spanish. It is definitely easy to read, unlike most manuals that come from overseas. Here we have the different nozzles, an additional filter for the paint sprayer, a viscosity cup. This will allow you to figure out what viscosity you have to spray out of the sprayer, because you can't just spray most paints out of a spray. It's got to be slightly diluted, and don't over dilute it. A little pick to clean out the orifices inside the paint sprayers, a cleaning brush. This looks like some type of carrying strap. You got a cap in case you need to take a break. You can just take the bottle off and cap it with some gaskets. Pretty decently long hose. And here's the actual spray gun itself. It does have a variable adjustable trigger here, so you can adjust your paint spray. If you don't want to spray so much, you can back this thing all the way out here, and it'll limit the travel, just depending on how much you want to spray. And there's the cup. Looks like it holds 1,300 milliliters of paint, which is a decent amount. So it's pretty good. And then we have the little motor here. It's like a mini vacuum cleaner. It's protected with rubber. It does have a filter in the back, and that's what that additional foam filter was for. Replaceable filter here. And we'll turn it on. It's pretty loud, like a vacuum cleaner, but it blows a lot of air out. And that's what's going to act as your air pressure there. This pressure pumping out of there. So we're going to get a piece of wood set up that we want to spray, and we're going to spray it and see exactly how good this thing works. Okay, the first thing you got to do is check the actual viscosity of the paint you're going to use with this little cup. So you're just going to stick it down in the paint like so. Let it fill to the top. And your goal is about less than 60 seconds is what you want this paint to flow at. And this paint is flowing very slow, so it'll probably have to be thinned out a bit to be used inside this paint sprayer. You see there, it's taking way too long to dump down. So we gotta get some paint thinner and add a little bit of thinner to this and see what happens. Okay, we actually looked. This is not a latex paint. This is an acrylic enamel. So you can thin this with water or some type of thinner. So we're gonna choose to use water, which is the easiest and most affordable. Everybody can grab some type of water and put it in there. Using paint thinners and stuff is volatile. It got smells. So the first thing we're gonna do is actually strain the paint through here to get any clumps out. So we're gonna do that, add a little bit of paint in there. Then we're gonna start adding the water and seeing where our thin out point is. Again, we're aiming for about 20 to 50 seconds of this entire thing running down. All right, we're straining the paint down, and it is flowing in nice and slowly. And that's, like I said, a little bit too slow to run through the gun. So we'll let this thing drain down. It's always important that you strain your paint before you put it into a sprayer to avoid any types of clumps and clogs. So we'll let this thing run down and add some water to it and see exactly where we're at with everything. All right, we got the paint thinned out with some water. So the next thing you want to do is just take your little paint cup here, fill it to the top, and go ahead and let it run down. Again, you want somewhere between 20 seconds and a minute of flow time going through there. So we're going to take this and we're going to pour it in. and we will look at the clock once it's full. It's been about 15 seconds or so. 20, 25, 30. Cup is almost empty. 35. Yep, so we're right there with this. So this paint is running good. We'll add just a touch more water and that'll be it. We'll get everything hooked up and start to spray. All right, we got this thing set up here to spray. It has got a fairly long cord, so it is decent. We're gonna set it up here. We are not professional painters, so keep that in mind. We'll see how good this thing does, really. All right, well, there it is. That's the first spray. We didn't have much paint in there to begin with, but man, this thing did a phenomenal job. It sprayed nice. So we're gonna let it dry up and clean everything up and come back and talk about it. All right, we are gonna do a second coat just to throw some more paint on there and see. All right, now the imperfections you see are because of the wood. It's not because of the sprayer. And again, we are not professional painters, so we didn't expect perfection. But man, this thing really paints really well. It sprays a nice consistent pattern. It just covers the area really, really well. So we're gonna take it apart and go clean it real quick, let this thing dry. But to clean it, it's very simple. There's a little release button here, and you push it and it releases from the gun, and then you're left with just the actual sprayer here, and you can take everything and clean it. All right, and there is the sprayed product. Again, this was a piece of plywood. It wasn't smooth at all, so you're gonna see imperfections in it, and we are not professional painters. So yeah, this thing did an excellent, excellent job. The paint is on there nice. This is a nice acrylic enamel paint. sprayed good. There's a bit of overspray when you spray it, but that's to be associated with any type of power sprayers. But yeah, this thing works phenomenal for the price. So we'll lay everything out. We cleaned it, and we'll talk about it for a second. All right, this thing cleaned up extremely well with just warm water. A little bit of pain on the outside is not going to hurt it, so we didn't worry about that. But the inside is what you want to clean. It did clean up extremely well with warm water, as well as over here. This all cleaned up, and this is just overspraying the plastic out there. Not a big deal. I'm not worried about that. The suction funnel cleaned up well. The little cup cleaned up well. And in hindsight, this was the nozzle that was on there. So we probably should have used the smallest nozzle to spray, but we're using this one, which is looks like 1.8. So we should have used this 1.0, which is about half the size to spray. But nonetheless, we're not professionals, not professional painters, but it did come out well. And this is everything you can use on it. You can use coating, this is the coating materials, oil-based, water-based, varnish, solvent, emulsions, plant protectants, and like some type of like schlax or anything you can spray through there. So definitely is a good buy. For the price, you're not going to beat it. The portability, being able to walk around with it, all the extra parts it comes with, this is definitely a good buy. So hope this helps. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.